What's up everybody, it's Joe from JLW Games coming at you with another cool video, and we're back and playing a coaster in our Halloween park. So this is part 3, leaving off right where we left off. Now we're getting into the final section of the park. Again, this is going to be a very small park, nothing too fancy or too big. There's going to be 3 major coasters in this park, and in this video we actually do the layout of the final coaster. So this video does end up being a little bit longer than usual. Because of that, I actually recorded a little over an hour of footage here, so that's what's going on with that. So the entrance for this coaster is going to be in this awesome castle, which I don't end up finishing in this episode, but we'll get that finished up in the next episode. I really wanted to focus a lot on the coaster layout mainly here, and we're going to get into a lot of stuff in the next episode. There's probably only going to be 1, maybe 2 more episodes of this park, simply because we are in crunch time, as Halloween is literally around the corner, and I mean literally around the corner, like what, 5 days from the time I recorded this, and should get it up today, or tonight anyways. Whenever you're watching this, it doesn't matter. So anyways, this tower is just kind of a generic tower, and nothing too fancy about it, except that it's probably not the greatest tower in the world. I don't have any experience creating any castles or towers and stuff like that. I don't have any great experience, so when it comes to that, I'm just kind of spitballing and experimenting a lot. So what better way to experiment than for fun park like this, on a Halloween park and stuff like that. Again, this isn't I'm sure you all know by now, but this isn't a full-on, fully fledged max effort park. It's literally just a for fun park to make a fun little Halloween park and stuff like that, and yeah, blah blah blah. And I've had some people ask me if ideas of just making a year-round, or a kind of like a holiday park that has different sections, like a Christmas section, a Halloween section, and stuff like that. I thought that was a very cool idea, but I've gotten too far into this park to really make different sections. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish it out, but I am gonna definitely keep that idea in mind for the future, and make sort of like a holiday world type of park and stuff like that. That'd actually be really cool. And during Halloween or something, I could add rides into the section and just make it a actual park and stuff like that, as in the JLW chain. Now I'm starting to come up with a hard decision with all the parks, if I should start over with the JLW chain and what is, I almost want to say canon or legit parks and stuff like that, because there are going to be parks that I want to come back to and work on. So that is something I do want to do. So I do fiddle with this archway just for a little bit, because I'm trying to find a specific piece or pieces and that's the pieces that are the outside of the arch, the white section. I had trouble finding that, and as you can see here, I do have some issues finding it. I had to go to all scenery because I didn't know what it would be under. And but I do end up finding it, and it ends up being alright. So this is going to be the entrance of the coaster, is actually the entrance of the castle, which I thought would be cool. So this coaster is going to be a kind of Frankenstein. It's going to have a Frankenstein theme, and you enter this awesome castle and stuff like that. And from the very get-go, I wanted this coaster to be a launch coaster, and there's going to be a lot of special effects and stuff like that, with lightning and stuff like that as soon as you shoot out of the tunnel and stuff like that, and the monster comes to life. That's kind of like the storyline to the ride here, which is probably one of the biggest storylines that I've ever come up with for a ride, and that's pretty sad because this doesn't have a huge storyline and for theming wise. So yeah, I do want to get more into theming for my parks than what I usually do, and I've lacked in a lot of that, and it's hard to find an original theme and stuff like that. I think I tried too hard, because mostly everything that's created is based off of something else. Just like this coaster that I am going to be building is kind of inspired by Full Throttle from Six Flags Magic Mountain. I believe it's a Magic Mountain. Pretty sure it is. But I've never ridden Full Throttle, and I've only seen the POV like maybe once or something like that. But it is kind of like that kind of a ride. It's going to have a top hat and stuff like that, which at the start I didn't know there was a prefabricated piece. I knew there was, but I couldn't find it right off the bat, and I completely mess up. So there's a lot of trial and error in this coaster and stuff like that. So this coaster is going to start off indoors, so it's going to be kind of a dark ride at the very beginning, but there's not going to be a huge dark ride section. It's going to be like just this little section right here, and then once you get to the launch area, that will actually be the tunnel that you shoot out of. So there's going to be a tunnel in this launch section right here, all the way up to the large loop right off the bat. So this small drop is going to be indoor part and stuff like that. So we'll get into a lot of the scenery probably in the next episode. This is going to be focusing on the layout of the coaster, which I did have a lot of issues with. Now, I do end up changing this because I go with this loop, vertical loop, and I actually changed that to a top hat in the end because I was like, man, I kind of want to have a top hat instead. And of course, we got to change the color scheme to green because it is a Frankenstein theme, which means I'm probably going to change the color scheme of the other coaster, I believe it was a floorless coaster I made over there. Yeah, so I was going to change that color to like an orange or something to make it have like a pumpkin theme or something like that. I think that would be kind of cool. And have just different color schemes throughout the park rather than having two green coasters because it's kind of different. So I didn't until recently know that there was the backward launch and forward launch system exactly like Full Throttle, because this coaster type is completely completely inspired by Full Throttle. It is the Full Throttle coaster track and stuff like that, which is kind of hilarious. Everything about this type of coaster is Full Throttle, so I think that was kind of awesome because we're going to be able to recreate a lot of rides with specific track types that they're having, and maybe make our own kind of original rides based off of those, which is really fun, just kind of like I'm doing here now with this coaster. Now this is going to be the section where it launches backwards and then goes back forward and launches you forward, which is kind of like a multi-launch system, which is really cool I thought to have in this game. And it's nothing we've really seen before in these kind of games, and it's a really nice feature that you're going to be able to launch backwards. You never know what you might be able to do with that, so it's kind of interesting. And you could actually create maybe some sort of shuttle coaster with this as well, which is also a really cool thing. Now this is where the issues kind of come in, because I wanted to do a top hat over the loop, and I was trying to figure out for the longest time, how am I gonna get it over there in the proper location and still have enough momentum to get over that loop and stuff. And I do use a lot more launches in the end, so this is a very big kind of hard thing. So I made the backwards launch a little bit too fast, and it actually went over the hill. It was actually not supposed to make it over the hill, so that was an issue there. But I do end up fixing it, of course. And yeah, this layout was very complicated because I've never made a coaster like this before, and it is kind of weird. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll do like this twist and kind of like a twist and dive down into here, and then do the top hat over the loop. At this point I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to change the loop into an actual top hat. And I was trying to get kind of a feel for it, because I do end up making putting the track over this loop, which was kind of a mistake and kind of dumb, because I was like, I know there's a prefabricated top hat piece to use on this ride, and I could not figure it out for a second until I was like, I actually went and got but we'll see it here in a second. So I was like, the underground part was just kind of like weird and stuff like that, so Anyways, and I was like, man, well, how do you make a top hat here? I know you can in the game, and I was like, how do you do it? And then I was like, wait a minute, there should be a prefabricated piece for this, and I fiddle around with this for like a few moments, which is kind of hilarious to watch, because I'm just kind of like, well, this looks dumb, and I was like, why isn't this working out? And I was like, no, yeah, like, dumb Joe, you gotta actually place the prefabricated element to make this work, and I don't know what I was trying to accomplish here and why I was trying to do this, because I wasn't gonna do a full on. I was place this the blueprint here, and I was like, wait a minute, and then I went into the editing to figure out where the piece was, and I was like, okay, it's under loops, it's right there, and boom, that's all I needed to know. So I go ahead and delete this, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to retrack this a little bit and make this work out. So I was like, oh, there it is. And they didn't have like the pieces to go to the other way. They only had one way loop, so that was kind of weird. And because I had it going the other direction, so I had to reroute the track a little bit for the beginning. Plus the loop is way bigger, and in fact, I didn't know if you could resize it, or you probably could resize it, and I just didn't realize it. But oh well, it all works out in the end, folks. It all works out in the end. And this was very hard to try and smooth out here on this little drop turn right after the loop, because it was kind of difficult. It's to retrack it when you have to make changes in the middle of a ride and try to smooth it out. It always makes it a little bit difficult. And then I had the issue on this part here where the train was definitely not gonna make it over that hill, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll just add a whole lot of, as fast as I can launch here to try and get it over the top. No, that still didn't work, because I still didn't have enough momentum or speed. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll make this taller, make it faster, and maybe we'll make it over. And I was completely wasting my time here trying to fiddle around with this, and it's just sad and stuff like that. It was definitely an interesting and progress, and learned a lot trying to make this work, and I know can make better designs for this in the future, in this type of ride anyways, because again, I had no experience making this type of coaster, and it was my first time in playing a coaster making this coaster, and what better way than, for fun park to work on this kind of ride, and because I had no clue how to make this work, and I was very clueless. And then I realized, well, maybe I need to do something different, and yeah, this is where I speed up the boost or the launch and see how well it works. And I had my fingers crossed, and it still didn't work. So that launch section, I think I'm also going to put in a tunnel as well. And I was like, it still didn't even make it over that. So, and I believe I do one more fiddle with this section here to try and make it work. And I tried making it a little bit smaller just to see, alright, maybe I'll have enough momentum to, I don't know why I thought that since it didn't make it through that, I didn't realize it was going to make it over that hill. I don't know why I had that thought. I was just not thinking at the time, I suppose. Like, I can't believe how much I fiddled with this. Like, the episode would have been so much shorter if I would have figured this out a little bit sooner. And yeah, and it's just kind of a mess. And I was like, hey, I made it through that. And yeah, it's not going to make it over that. Because, yeah, reasons. And I was like, okay, I'm trashing this all together, and I'm going to try something else instead. And we're going to do like this turn into here rather than that, and we're going to make something a little bit extra. It actually makes the ride just a slightly bit longer as well, which is cool, because this is a fairly big ride, and it's going to be the main attraction of the park. Again, this is a small park, so there's not going to be any huge coasters, but this is going to be the biggest one here. And I can tell you right now, I'm so excited for wooden coasters. I feel like that's the only thing missing from my parks. That and water rides, of course, and also transport rides. Get those couple things in by, launch. Planet Coaster will be huge, huge, huge. A lot of people are getting slightly worried because we haven't seen any hints at water rides. But Planet Coaster is actually going to be posting like hints and stuff of what they're going to be adding up until the launch of the 9th, the beta and stuff. They're going to be posting stuff, so we hopefully might see some water rides. I don't know. That is something I feel that should be in the base game rather than an expansion or DLC. So that is interesting because we are, you're going to have water rides in your parks. I mean, it's just, something that is required, for an amusement park, is there's going to be some water rides that are going to be popular during the summertime and stuff like that, which is stuff like that. I can't tell you how excited I am for like campaign mode and stuff. I've been wanting to do a challenge park, the challenge mode park, for a while, but I just haven't gotten around to it because you're limited to a certain amount of money, and I've never been able to do that very well. And it's kind of like just managing money and stuff like that, and you have to worry about cash in that actually. So that is kind of an interesting thing as well. So here in the end, I just kind of try and get it to where I can make a longer break run, because I do end up adding another element I wasn't planning on adding, and that was that dive loop right there, and that turn and dive loop. And I was like, okay, I just got to get it back to the end here and get some break runs going and block sections, stuff like that, and actually end up getting it, and that's finally done. And after that, I was just done. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. That's gonna do it for this episode, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Let me guys know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe if you want more Planet Coaster. So I will see you guys next time. Have a great day. Cooler tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.